this wasn't meant to be a bash on Renogy battery monitors, because I mean, it worked fine. It was a lot better than the made in China thing that I had, but I think the Renogy stuff's probably made in China. This stuff's made in Taiwan, or Malaysia, sorry, I think. Designed by the Netherlands. But I'm just, so far, they've given me a cable that is like long. And I'm impressed, because right now my shunt is right there, behind that board, and my monitor is right here, which is like, I don't know, maybe 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 10 foot, maybe 10 foot cable. They gave me a 10-foot cable. The reason why my battery monitor is there is because I only had a 10-foot cable, and I didn't understand what the cable was doing. So whether I could cut it and extend it, or if there was some like load resistance in the cable, I just didn't know. So I just went with what it was. I mean, I don't mind it there, but I really wanted it just over there, and I just didn't have enough cable to make it reach over to the side. So I ended up putting it here. But now that I have the Raymarine chart plotter, I want to put the chart plotter into the wall here, and that's in the way, and I don't have a long enough cable. So right now my chart plotter is just sort of sitting on the top of the captain's desk here. So yeah, I just want to say, you know, it's like little things like that. It may sound silly. Having a long cable that they supply you with is a win for Victron Energy over the Renogy guys. Now I can put it where I want. So I just wanted to comment on this Renogy thing. Actually, I was going to say this wasn't supposed to be a Renogy versus Victron Energy battery monitor comparison, but it's just because I have had 3 battery monitors now. I bought this D-Rock battery monitor, and I just couldn't understand it. It was made in China. It had all kinds of information. It was like more like a nerd's type device. I mean, it worked fine, but it just, I couldn't understand what the symbols meant. The you know, I got it for $25 on Amazon. D-Rock battery monitor. This one here, I bought the Renogy because I wanted to, the Chinese one didn't do up to 48 volts. So I bought this one because this one would do up to 48 or 96 volts or something. The one thing that I hate about this Renogy is this green light. You'd think it'd be alright, but what they do is in the middle of the night, I've not been able to successfully dim this properly. You hold down this thing, and it just goes to down. Like there's no, like, just a little bit. So like, you know, it just seems like it's either full or it's low, which I guess is okay. I've already broken the display on the buttons just from pushing the buttons. Like there's a little crack there. I left this little paper on because I'm not done my renovations here. So I was like, okay, well, that's kind of annoying. And then really annoying, what's most annoying about that Renogy product is the fact that it flashes. So if, flashes while charging. I didn't know what was happening. I thought the thing was broke. So I went on the website. It doesn't explain that. I finally found in a user forum on the Renogy website that this thing flashes when charges. So I guess what the programmers decided to do was, if there's more voltage going into it than voltage coming out, then it physically it flashes, and if it's equal, it turns off. So I don't know if I can turn off. Right now I've got the fridge going, so if I turn the fridge off, let me just do that, and you'll probably see the thing start to flash. Alright, so all I've got is LEDs on right now. There you go. So now it's flashing. So what this is saying is that it's taking in from solar 0.14 amps, 7 watts. And then the time here doesn't make sense. But anyways, just, you can see that, like, that's annoying. So imagine trying to sleep next to that. Like the V-berth is in the front and can see that display at night. Well, I have to come over here and turn off the green entirely, so then I can't read it. because it's very hard to read without the flashing light. That is the most annoying feature I've ever seen in a product. Like, whoever decided to do that, like, they should have at least put a way to turn it off. Okay, so got the shunts changed. This only took about I don't know, half an hour just to fish the wire and stuff, but that's the new shunt, and I just want to show the difference, actually, the Renogy versus the new. So they both have the place to put the battery, they both have the connector for the display, they both have battery and P, which is the load and the non-load, but this one here has like a backing plate that you can actually mount it to the wall, and I was so disappointed. Actually, I forgot about that, so that's why I wanted to film it. I was pretty disappointed on this shunt because there's no way to mount it, so I ended up just putting these little clips here to hold the wires in place, and that was sort of just balancing the shunt. But this shunt here, it's got a nice mount, and then I love these little push connectors. It took a bit to figure out, or orange things in, and then that opens up the hole to put the wire in for the power to go to the display. So yeah, much better design in my opinion, hands down. Just the ability to be able to mount something, and then this one here, you need to put a wrench on both sides. That's a screw-in post, so it was simpler for undoing. I didn't need two wrenches. So yeah, that one's, like I said, a little bit better design. Alright, there it's running. It says 1 battery capacity. So I don't know what code. 000000 pair. Alright, there we go. So current version 2.14, new version 2.23. Just like every other Victron Energy, it updates it first before you can do anything. Firmware update. That's kind of cool. Actually, I do like that. So even when you get something out of the box, it's immediately updated the first time you connect to it via Bluetooth. So it's saying that the firmware is updated to 2.23. Continue. Maybe I can connect to it now. I have my inverter off, so they just show up as additional devices in this app. There we go. Unsecured access. Change PIN code. PIN code changed. So right now it thinks it's 100% because it just wouldn't know any better. So I have to go and bring this up, because I know I'm down right now because it's been running all night to the fridge. So I was going to kind of keep an eye on it. My volts are too low. Those are usually around 57, I think, when it's fully charged. So the current is seeing me pull out 0.23 amps. I don't know how to change the display. I didn't read any instructions, of course, because who reads instructions, right? State is open, I'm guessing. History, deepest discharge, last discharge, energy. Oh, that's cool. Minimum battery voltage, maximum battery voltage, and trends. So voltage, current, power, consume. I like watching this sometimes so I can see kind of the impacts of things. Or my boat's pretty efficient. Incandescent bulb, everything that was old. These are actually my only 2 incandescent bulbs. I'm just waiting for the Blue Sea Systems panel before I finish off, but then I'm going to clean up all this wiring. Update to the latest firmware version required in order to view modify load update. Okay, let's update. Battery monitor. Oh, I just updated the firmware. Oh, that was interesting. So that was the Bluetooth firmware built into the battery monitor. So now I'm actually updating software from version 4 to 4.03. Somehow it knew there was a new version, and it says here BE2000. I don't know what that stands for, but alright. So let's try that again. Settings, there we go. Battery capacity 200 amp hours.
charged voltage 0 volts, discharge floor 50%, so tail current 4%, charge detection time 3 minutes, Pukert exponent, I don't know what that means, charge efficiency factor, current threshold, battery starts synchronized, batteries after a reset will be 100%, state of charge, manually set the current state of charge. Okay, so I've got a hydrometer, so I'm going to go and measure the specific gravity of all my battery cells sometime today, tomorrow, and then I guess this is where I can actually set my manual state of charge. So that way I can calibrate the device. That's what I was kind of wondering. Okay, there's a relay on this. That's what the thing on the back is for. So I can do a power, okay. So that's what these little, there's some relays which are awesome on the back here. The NO, COM, and NC. I'm guessing those are the relays, the little green connectors. Low voltage relay and a high voltage relay. So there you go. Low starter voltage relay, high starter. So relay will be deactivated after a relay depending upon minimum close time. So if I want my fridge to shut off, for example, on a low voltage relay, then I could actually use that to trigger a cutoff switch for the power on the fridge. And then the fridge will sit for 10 hours relatively safely. I won't lose my food. So that would be a good thing to do. So my low voltage relay, I can have that set up by using a trigger. It's like usually they're like a voltage trigger. It sends 5 volts to something, or maybe there's 5 volts on it right now and it turns it off. The relay will close or open. So I could put a relay. I have to buy an electronic relay, but I could connect it to for example, the 12 volt feed that feeds the fridge, and then connect it to this, and then the low voltage, it'll shut the fridge off. So that's good. Display. No, look at that. Isn't that awesome? Backlight intensity. Backlight always on. Just what I was asking for Renogy. Can't they just turn it off? Or reduce the intensity to 1. Oh, look at that. And let's put it back to 5. And we'll put it to 9. So it's extra bright. So put it back to 5, the default. Scroll speed 2. So this is, like I said, a win over Renogy big time. Alarms. So alarm buzzer is on. My low voltage alarm. So at 46 volts, I'd like to start to get an alarm. 40, because my batteries will be cutting off. So low voltage alarm, set value. Oops, here we go. So the clear value will be 47 volts. Oops, 47. And that one, oh, there's software bug. Your little scroll. The little scroll wheel doesn't work for, I'm going to put that to 47.5 volts so I know it's charging. The scroll, oh, it's down here. It isn't a bug. There we go. There's 2 sliders on the same thing. So basically at 46 volts, I'd like to get a warning, and then I can know that it's charging at, or it's cleared at 47.5 volts. So this here would basically low voltage alarm when I was motoring and I didn't realize I was actually underdrawn. I ended up in the middle of the channel having to drop anchor, so I didn't blow around, and yeah, I had to get rescued. So this will help me in the future, then I'll at least get an alarm. And then the high voltage alarm, I don't know, I have to recalculate my batteries, but I think it's 58 volts. This would be a high voltage alarm. I'll probably put that on. I'll do that later. Alright, so there you go. Display miscellaneous. What's in there? Shunt current, shunt voltage, auxiliary input, starter batter. I'll have to do some reading on what that is. Auxiliary input. must be a way to get something else into this. And I think the VE Smart Networking is a cloud-based service, so you can kind of read it from afar. But I don't have a transmitter here or dedicated internet on my boat. I just go off my phone. So yeah, there we go. Look at that. Live view. There we go. So 52.14 volts. Infinite hours, 100% amp hours, 14 watts, 20.27 amps. So I don't know what how that will set, but I'm out of setup mode. So it gives me the quick view of voltage, and my battery's fully charged. It's thinking right now. Cool. Oh, I'll be curious to see how this thing collects data after a bit. Anyways, sorry, that's the end of my battery monitoring video. Victron Energy. I have the 712 version, which is the built-in Bluetooth. And yeah, I'm glad to finally have the ability to read just that data right there, current. So when I run my motor, I'll be able to see how much current without having to run down here, so that this will be a huge improvement. And oh, there we go, the backlit fell off too, so I'll be able to sleep at night without having a ton of extra lights going on. Alright, final installation. 100%, 34 watts, 0.65 amps. 52.58 volts. Alright, so now that I have a working battery monitor, I'm just going to hold up the display. This is the voltage, this is the current, this is the power that I'm drawing, and the consumed amp hours and how much time I have remaining right now. So it's showing that it's infinite because their solar is actually putting in more. I was just running the engine here. So I'm just going to run this in reverse. So that's 500 watts, 600. So I'm only using 13 amps at 50 volts. If I kind of put it to about here, that's pretty typical of where I'm just sort of motoring out of the, just motoring. I'm doing like 2.5, 3 knots. It's not fast, but it's getting me out there. If I go to about here, I'm running 30 amps. So I'm not that far off even if I want to push it a bit. These batteries are only really good for 20 amps. So you can see the voltage is 49.2. I'm running 20 amp. This is right about the 20 amp mark. So it's taking out 21 amps. It's 1,000 watts. So in my 10 kilowatt motor, it's only using 10% of it. And it's saying that I can run for 5 hours based on this speed, which might not be right. I have to think about that for a bit. I guess the good news is that my prop thrust is in around about where the battery draw is under normal conditions. When I was running it hard, this is how I was running it. You know, I'm drawing 50 amps, and you can see the time remaining is just going down. But I don't normally run it there. I run it about here. I'm just going by the sound. So I normally run it around 20 amps or 1,000 watts, so 1 kilowatt. So I've got lots there. So anyways, that's the update here. Number 2, I couldn't for the life of me understand how the previous, I guess the traveler sheet or traveler line went through the pulleys to have some kind of amplification of strength, or whether it was a 2-to-1 or